we are talking about 2 star athletes having to check into rehab. Like, that sucks from a human level. You want people to do well. You want people to be healthy. I'm happy that these individuals are getting help. But I just want to say that, like, it gives me and should give nobody any enjoyment to have to talk about stories like this. So it sucks. And hope that anyone out there struggling with addiction in any way, shape, or form, obviously, like, please, please, please ask for help. Like life is too short. Please ask for help. So the story is that LA Rams star receiver Puka Nacua, who, like, if you had to ask me yesterday before this news broke, like, hey, what's the last couple months of Puka Nacua's life been like? I would have said it seems like he's been on one big bender since the end of the NFL season. And I would have said that partially tongue-in-cheek, also partially being serious. So I got to be honest with everybody. It does not come as a gigantic surprise to maybe it does to you. It shouldn't. But it does not come as a gigantic surprise to me that this news breaks last night. Per Puka Nacua's agent and attorney, Puka has checked into a rehab facility in an attempt to, quote, improve his overall behavior in every aspect of his life. The agent and attorney also said that Nacua, quote, will complete the program in plenty of time to be involved in all the Rams' OTAs. So just to bring everybody up to speed on the timeline of events here with Puka Nacua, if you haven't been paying attention to this, and you don't have to, that's what I'm here for, to pay attention to this stuff so I can inform you about what's happening when we get news like this. So back in December, this was during the NFL season. If we remember, right, we talked about this leading into the Thursday night game that the Rams had against the Seattle Seahawks, and a game that might have cost the Rams the Super Bowl. Not Puka's fault that they lost that game, but just saying, right? Puka went on an internet live stream with people of questionable repute. I know nothing about these people, just saying that that's what seems to be what a lot of individuals say about that, and had to apologize for performing an anti-Semitic gesture, saying that he was unaware that the gesture was anti-Semitic. Again, I am 42 going on 80. I know nothing about any of these people. I did not watch the live stream. But this is what happened on the live stream, and Puka apologized for it in the aftermath. And then, last month, a woman in Los Angeles filing a lawsuit against Puka Nacua, alleging that he made, like, an unwarranted and unwanted and out of nowhere anti-Semitic statement towards her in New Year's Eve and bit her shoulder. And if you wanted to, it would not be difficult for you to go on the internet and find images of this bite. I'm not saying that I'm on the lookout for these sorts of things, but it seems like this is something that actually happened. And all the confirmation we need that something's going on here is that Puka Nacua is taking the opportunity to check himself into a rehab facility. So earlier this week, at the NFL League meetings in Phoenix, and we talked about this from a different angle, right? Sean McVay spoke to the media, Rams head coach, and was very glib and said, we would love for Jimmy Garoppolo to come back to be Matthew Stafford's backup. And if not Jimmy G, we would love for it to be Kirk Cousins. Like, he said that. Like, coaches normally aren't as forthright as he was. He mentioned that the team had made Devontae Adams available in trade talks. Again, think about how glib that is, how forthright he's being, and how that's normally not the case. I think that's pretty interesting. And when pressed about everything that's been happening off the field with Puka Nacua, McVay gave him an impassioned defense, didn't forgive him of everything that's happened. That's not what it was, but said multiple times that he believes in Puka Nacua's heart and that you put your arm around the young man and he believes in Puka and Puka's got to do what he's got to do. And now obviously those comments can be viewed through a different lens now that we know what we know, which is that apparently he's been in a rehab facility for quite some time, right? And that he was in one, presumably, when Sean McVay gave these quotes. So it makes it a little more interesting, right? And that he wants to put his arm around the young man, etc. There is a lot going on here. Before we do anything on Puka, just on Sean McVay, these comments from McVay are a a little wacky. And this is how it goes, like, not just in sports, but in life. You can hate this reality if you want. It changes nothing. That reality. If Kanata Mumfield is one of the Rams' depth receivers, bit a woman on the shoulder and had an anti-Semitic remark towards her. If Jordan Whittington went on an internet live stream with an anti-Semitic gesture, or Xavier Smith, who had the fumble in the NFC Championship game, if he's, getting wasted in public, do you think that they're still members of the Los Angeles Rams? Do you think that Sean McVay believes in the heart of Jordan Whittington if Whittington's caught doing these things? Or that he wants to put his arm around Kanata Mumfield if Mumfield's doing these things? If they did this, they'd be gone. And this is not unique to Sean. I want to be clear. This is not me dragging Sean McVay. Any coach in the NFL would do the same thing. Anyone in business would do the same thing. Because the fact of the matter is, Puka Nacua is one of the best, forget about receivers. He's one of the best players in the NFL, period. He's unbelievable. He's great. So Sean McVay looks at it and sees all the targets and all the catches and all the touchdowns, right? Bite a women, no big deal. Hates Jewish people, all good. Catches balls over the middle. This is how the NFL operates. Former Arizona Cardinals general manager Steve Keim had a great quote over a decade ago saying, if Hannibal Lecter ran a 4.3, the NFL would diagnose him with an eating disorder. This is how it goes. Star players get preferential treatment, and no matter how you feel about Puka Nacua, the fact of the matter is he is a superstar, a megastar in the National Football League. Before we go any further, I want to say this, and it's the same thing I said yesterday about Tiger Woods. I've been around the block in my life, not as long as some people, but I'm almost in my mid-40s. And I don't need to keep saying it this week, but we keep getting these stories, right? Just to say it, because the human side of this is way more important than anything to do with sports. We'll do all the sports stuff. I have seen in my life, and I hope that you haven't in yours, because it's terrible, what addiction can do to people, right? And how, whether you're rich or famous, or you don't have money and no one knows who you are, it's very hard for people to ask for help. And you can yell at people until and I have in my life, you can yell at people until you're blue in the face, but it's like the saying goes, you can take an animal to water, but you can't make it drink. Puka Nacua deserves credit, whether you think he's getting pushed into this or not, whatever. He has the right to say no to stuff. We have seen people more rich and more famous than Puka Nacua say no to going away and getting help. So I think he deserves a lot of credit, as does Tiger Woods, as does anybody that tries to do better for himself or herself. That needs to be said. And now we can talk some sports and the football side of this, because there are several really, really interesting layers to this story. The first one, Puka, in my younger days, I love to tie one on, right? I love to go out and drink on a Friday night, drink on a Saturday night, let loose, probably get a little too hammered, and you feel it the next couple days. You get sick, you say something stupid, you do something stupid, candidly. That's why I don't really drink anymore. It helps that my wife doesn't drink. But yeah, we've all kind of been there in our lives, right? So Puka seems like he's been really enjoying himself, right, over the last few months. If you've seen him in public, you've seen him do interviews, it seems like he's having a grand old time. Well, this is like the memes. Oh, look, the consequences of my actions are here. Or my personal favorite, me sowing, yeah, this is great, versus me reaping. Oh, man, this kind of sucks. And all you need to know how badly this might suck for Puka outside of the obvious with like his actual life. We're talking his football life here. All you need are 3 letters. Those 3 letters, JSN. In the 2023 NFL Draft, Jackson Smith-Njigba goes in the first round to the Seattle Seahawks. Great pick by John Schneider and company, right? Offensive Player of the Year, helps the Seahawks win a Super Bowl championship. Puka Nacua is a 5th round pick of the Los Angeles, one of the best, top 10, 20 draft pick of all time if this turns out being great. He stays on the straight and narrow. It's an unbelievable pick by the LA Rams. Remember what we talked about over the last couple weeks. Jackson Smith-Njigba, who just won again Offensive Player of the Year, signs this extension that makes him the richest wide receiver in the history of the NFL. The highest paid wide receiver in the history of the National Football League. Puka Nacua is also eligible for an extension. They're taking in the same draft. This past season, JSN, 119 catches, 1,793 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Puka Nacua, 129 catches, 1,715 yards, and 10 touchdowns. We are talking a similar caliber of player. Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith-Njigba. Puka turns 25 next month. He's ridiculously young and he's ridiculously good. Star. Dependable on the field. Takes hits, gets up, sets the tone. Also apparently hates Jewish people and bites women and they don't ask for it. Now, you want to bite a woman in the privacy of your own home and she's asking for it and you want to do your best Dracula impersonation? Have at it. I don't care what happens behind closed doors. But I'll tell you what, man. She ain't asking for it. Probably shouldn't do it. Probably shouldn't do it. So it is very much within the realm of possibility that Puka Nacua is costing himself a ton of money here with the Los Angeles Rams. Not definitely, but possibly. And that needs to be discussed. And then there's the Los Angeles Rams. The LA Rams entering this season feel to me like an old person with a bucket list. Feeling like the end may be near and you want to check all these things and do all these things you haven't done. Never been to Italy? Hop on that plane. Always been scared of skydiving? Take the leap. Always wanted to bite a woman in public? Don't do that. Don't be like Puka Nacua. Matthew Stafford is the ultimate year-to-year quarterback or player in the history of the NFL. This could be his last year, right? We know that the Rams, it's been reported by reputable reporters like Diana Rossini and Jordan Rodriguez, right? That the Rams were in on A.J. Brown. Sean McVay himself has said that they dangled Davante Adams in trade talks. Like, they know that they got to get over the hump, and they got to compete with the Niners, who have gotten better this offseason. Signed Mike Evans, going to get players back. They got to compete with the reigning defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. This is their year. This might be it for Stafford. Hell, it might be it for McVay with the way he's talking. Just like, yeah, we want to go sign. And Kirk Cousins, by the way, has just signed with the Raiders. We'll get to that coming up in a few moments. That is breaking news on the show. We'll give you my analysis there in a few moments. Kirk Cousins signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. Puka Nacua is expected to be a huge part of what the Rams do this year. And I would ask you this question. If the Rams can't depend on Puka, and I have no idea if they can or not, they know. Like, they know that. I don't know that. Don't their actions earlier this offseason kind of tell you that they think something might be up? Right? Like, in on A.J. Brown, dangling Davante Adams. They traded a first-round pick for Trent McDuffie, made him the highest-paid corner in the NFL. They signed Jalen Watson. They are all in on this year. And they may not be able to count on the best player on their offense, not named Matthew Stafford. So what happens next? The NFL draft is in 3 weeks. Literally from today. 3 weeks from today. The Rams have the 13th pick by virtue of the James Pierce trade last year, an insane trade by the now fired Falcons front office. My sense is, I feel pretty confident about this. The Rams are going to do something here. Now, I don't know if something means trade for A.J. Brown. I have no idea if that's what it's going to be. Or are they going to draft like USC's Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver, Arizona State receiver Jordan Tyson, Casey Concepcion? Like, the Rams are going to do something here. They've telegraphed their entire offseason plan that they are all in on this offseason. And their star wide receiver is currently in rehab. Don't you think they're going to do something? Now, maybe Sean McVay and Les Snead, the coach and GM, really earnestly and honestly and sincerely believe that Puka is going to be on the straight and narrow and they can count on him 100%. Maybe they believe that. But let's do the human thing here, right? You and me. If it's you and if it's me. And we got to count on that. In your life, in your job, you can want something to happen. You can think it's going to happen, but something's always going to be in the back of your mind. What if this keeps happening? And that's right, wrong, or indifferent. This is human nature, right? I don't think the Rams are done wheeling and dealing. NFL draft, 3 weeks away. 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910, youtube.com/@the Kostos, TheKostos. Well, Sean McVay wanted Kirk Cousins to be the Rams' backup quarterback this year. That will not happen because Kirk Cousins has just, in the last few minutes, signed a deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll talk about what that means for the 2026 Raiders and what it means for Fernando Mendoza. Coming up next on a Thursday, Westwood One Sports, Nick Kostos and you, presented by BetMGM.